Hello, so for my lesson, I taught a lesson on how to correct and revise the students' conclusions for their labs. And the night before, I had them write rough drafts for their labs and bring them in. And then I showed them the rubric I was going to use to grade it, which looks like this. And I had them trade with partners and have them read the rubric, and I showed them an example of the paper and told them how I would grade it. First I had them vote on how they would grade it, and then I said how I would grade it and why. And we worked on how we could have improved that sample to make it better, take it from a 1 or 2 to a 3 in each category. Because we consider clarity, concision, completeness, and whether what's said is correct. And then I had them rate their partners in each category and then explain to their partners why they get the rating they did and how they could improve. The hope that they would then go home and have some time to work on their rough drafts before they brought them back in. So the reason I did this is because, let's see, in the Marzano book, it talks about how feedback, the best kind of feedback for student improvement, is feedback that is corrective, because that has the greatest effect size, compared to feedback that's just correct, just right or wrong, or feedback that's just that's normative, that says you did better than or worse than whoever else. And they also say that feedback needs to be timely, so that the thing being fed back is still fresh in their mind. And I have various student samples, if I can find the rest of them. And for my 2 low achievers, which will be the first 2 I believe you see in the PDF, I really didn't help them very much at all, just because I compared their rough drafts and their final drafts, and there really isn't much difference. They just pretty much just rewrote it. In one case, I think Brianna rewrote it word for word. For the higher achieving ones, it definitely did see some improvement. It wasn't where I wanted it to be, the final draft, but especially Jasmine was much more complete and much more on topic. They really learned or got a better understanding of what the question was asking, how they could respond completely while remaining on topic. Whereas the weaker students tended to go off into things like, I thought the lab was hard, or I thought it was fun, stuff like that really isn't on topic and doesn't belong in the conclusion. One weakness for this whole thing was in all 3 of my periods, a significant portion, about 1/3 in 4th and 5th period, and 2/3 in 6th period didn't do the rough draft, so I had to have them off to the other side working on the rough drafts while I did this activity with the kids who had done their homework. And for the kids who were participating, in 4th and 5th, probably out of 20 or so kids, 15 to 17 would be actively involved at any one time. Whether that means voting, showing me fingers, or actually reading their partner's work and rating it, and then explaining, and then asking questions about why they got what they did. Whereas in 6th period, the engagement rate was significantly lower. Out of about 15 students, probably 7 or 8 at any one time. And I think that reflects the overall engagement in those classes. Hold on, let me check the time. I think that involves the overall engagement in those classes. So, some things to work on for this. All the ideas there. Oh, the last thing is the biggest thing that could have improved at least the results, the product of this, would have been a lot of students one of the questions asked, why did you do this experiment? And there's a lot of confusion over what a Newton is. They conflate Newton with force, so that should have been made clear in the previous lecture. And also, I gave them the procedure and had them read it, and I thought they would be able to glean the purpose and a hypothesis from the procedure, but a lot of them could not. So that needs to be explicitly taught as well, instead of just letting them read and try to puzzle things out. And that actually dovetails a lot with what Laka says about students needing help with academic language, students needing help with academic content in general, especially academic literary content.